All right, grand finals time, best of 7. In the bottom left, as the red Terran, he is GuMiho.
And in the top right, we have the blue Zerg player. Give it up for Soulkey.
In all seriousness, he is going to the Vancouver Twitch meetup, and he has to take a bus about 2 hours. I know, I'm ruining all the fun. Yeah. That's about 2 hours long, and he really didn't want to have that pressure of, like, you know, just barely being able to leave the cast. So, Fear Dragon, as the new addition to BaseTradeTV, like, guys, he's already hired. There's no, like, fire... Yeah, well, you can say fire Fear Dragon, but there's no, like, don't hire that guy. He's a part of the crew now. Same with Olivia as our website manager, media manager, whatever official title is. He's here for these situations. So he's going to be here mostly on the weekends and late nights for North American time, because of course he has a real job, not full-time like me and Rifkin. But he is also overseeing now the Chairs for Gaming Cups, which I believe the first one is tomorrow, right?
Yep, first one is tomorrow at 6 p.m. Pacific. But I also want to remind everyone that you guys are watching the Olimoleague finals. We already mentioned this is going to be a best of 7. It's really awesome. Winner is going to get $250. Second place gets $150, and that's going to be between these two players. And of course, third and fourth place already decided. I believe it was Horror and who was the other player that we had? It was
Labyrinth.
Horror and Labyrinth. Horror and Labyrinth, both getting $50.
Yep.
But if you guys do want to support the Olimoleague, maybe even grow that prize pool a little bit more, one really great way you can do it is you go support Olimoleague on Patreon. It's a really, really great league. It's consistent. It's one of the few extra things that Korean players can actually play in besides GSL, SSL, and Pro League. Because you know what? When you get knocked out of GSL and SSL, suddenly there's not a whole lot more that you can do besides Pro League.
Yep. I'm going to follow Zuper around for a second and make sure I don't type in all, because I am the referee. But there you go. That's the Patreon link. So check it out if you're interested. There's not much else going on in the game. I do want to give a quick shout out to all the subs that we missed, including a brand new sub. So first, Fringe resubbed for 13 months. Way to go. That's 1 month more than a part 2. Hope you're going to get it soon. Hope you already have it. And Borex SC is a new sub. So, woohoo!
Yeah, nice. Alright, so quickly about this game, I want to ask you, Soulkey, we saw that other TvZ, and we also saw the TvZ with GuMiho. GuMiho, obviously looking very dominant versus his opponent in his series, but Soulkey, I'd say, was a little bit more iffy. Like, there were, I mean, I gotta hand it to Labyrinth, of course, in his series versus Soulkey. He played really, really well, but Soulkey seemed to struggle with certain aspects of the matchup at times. And I kind of want to know, like, how are you feeling about this match coming up?
Yeah, so, I actually think of GuMiho has been very, what's the word, consistent, I suppose, where Soulkey kind of has his ups and downs. And that might be the way that Zerg is being played right now, you know, there's a couple of all-ins added in. Roach Ravager is unfortunately stuck in the mid-game a lot of the time, where Terran does have a nice flow to its unit structure most of the time. But GuMiho, I think, is going to take the series in the end. I'm guessing 4-2, but Soulkey could surprise me.
Well, Reaper and Hellion doing some nice damage over here to these queens that are on one side of the map, and I love this. I love when that Reaper just gets mixed in and adds in that little bit of extra damage and also messes with the AI with those KD8 charges. But, well, I guess the main big thing, again, is just going to be being able to shut down that creep spread for a little bit.
Yeah, very important, of course, TvZ. Now, if you made to go for a third base, this is like the standard Heart of the Swarm build, Wings of Liberty build, too, with the Hellions included here. These Hellions, you know, the most they're going to do, as you said, maybe stop the creep spread, maybe suicide in for drones later on, but that is later on. Now, Soulkey is doing something interesting. We see plenty of variations on Roaches and Mutas and Roaches, all that, especially on Dusk Towers, because you usually want that Spire to deal with Liberators most of the time. But a Baneling Nest right after the Roach Warren, it's a good old-fashioned Roach Baneling all-in.
Oh, man. And GuMiho actually sent that Reaper into the main base to try and get a scout off. He does actually scan. He sees the Baneling Nest as it finishes up. No time to cancel this. And Soulkey, he's committed to making this work, but GuMiho knows he has the potential to just lift up his third and just float it back into his main base. and say, hey, you know what? I don't actually need to defend that area. Like, I'm going to throw down some bunkers. I'm going to defend my main.
Yeah, that was a really nice scan. I was checking to see if Soulkey had seen GuMiho's third base. And I guess he did, like, with the lings that popped in right there. But I'm not so sure if that's what made him go for the all-in or not. But he is going for it, and it does look quite powerful. Ravager's going to have a lot of Corsair Biles to shoot down from. GuMiho just confident with his Hellion control, with the amount of Marines he's pumping out right now. I think he's actually fine. Wow.
Oh, that other supply depot being raised does kind of suck, because it gives these Ravagers the potential to move into the main base very, very easily. Corsair Bile shots being thrown down once again. The SCVs starting to fall, but of course, I mean, GuMiho can't afford to lose some of these SCVs. He's still leading up in SCVs until just now, and he's doing a pretty good job cleaning up so far.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to work for Soulkey. He's still pumping out a very consistent amount of Marines. He's got a tank on the way. This is only Ravagers now, and I did wonder, there's got to be... Oh my god, and took an amazing shot to the face.
There are still more units coming across the map. That actually was a pretty big deal, because now these Zerglings and these Ravagers can start spiraling a bit out of control. Those two corrosive bile shots may have changed the way this game is going.
He has a lot of SCVs to still pull into the fight, however. I mean, he can go down in SCVs, maybe like even 10 more, and be okay with a third CC. The tank pops out, going to add a lot of extra damage just in its regular old unsieged mode. The wall off just in time is pretty clutch as well. The Ravagers are all cleaned up.
Yeah, only ends up losing 3 more of those SCVs, and GuMiho manages to finally get the defense going. Has a lot of energy you can start throwing down mules with.
Yeah.
As well as maybe, I don't even know, like, if this situation, is this the time where you say, like, okay, let me maybe even think about throwing down a scan in about, like, 30 seconds just to see what my opponent's follow-up is?
I think you're going to want to drop for that information, and the drop is a really good call, because you know, even if they're going for a Spire, which Soulkey is, they're not going to have it by the time the drop commences. Yeah, you got to be careful, like, afterwards, but not for the first drop at the very least. So I really like this play from GuMiho. GuMiho knows he's ahead. He only went down, actually, how many SCVs? 18 is really not that bad for 3CC. In fact, it's usually 30 and above that even starts the win here for the Zerg player, because drops are just, they're so good. Mules are so good. Terran can come back for a lot.
Well, here comes that drop, and it makes its way to the natural expansion, but immediately is already spotted, and well, it's gonna get forced back. There's not even that many Marines. Like, these medevacs aren't even fully populated right now.
Yeah. Nice initial defense, and now the mutas are going to be coming out soon, so GuMiho not able to do anything on the return here, but as I said, his economy really wasn't that bad. It sucks that his third CC wasn't like immediately put down on location, and it's so full of energy. Oh my goodness. But I think he's looking pretty good in this game. We'll see what Soulkey can do with mutas, however, and you know, creep spread too. If he keeps on pushing that, he'll have a lot of time to hold against GuMiho's follow-up push, because he has stim combat shields. 1-1's going to finish up. He could push.
Yeah, Soulkey is getting up his own 1-1, but it is going to be, I would say, about 40 to 50 seconds delayed behind the +1 armor for GuMiho right now. And GuMiho sets up a very nice position. This is really cute. I like this. The Liberators protecting these Marines from a safe distance. And, of course, the Marines are going to be protecting the Liberators, I guess, from the Mutalisks as well.
He could unsiege and then pick up in the medevacs and hope the Liberators cover his drop, but... just gonna try and take as much out with him as he dies. Tries to get a muta with those Marines. There's the main push.
Yeah. That is a bit unfortunate, I think, for GuMiho. He does come in with a drop the backside, but that also gets cleaned up pretty quickly and doesn't manage to do a whole lot of damage. I think GuMiho's maybe losing a couple too many units.
That was not the best, no. But he is still okay back at home. He has so many mills being dropped. I wish he didn't break the income graphs, but it's probably pretty good. Yeah, 300, 400 above Soulkey on 3 bases, going up to 4 now. But everything is in this, like, this place where Soulkey could win with good control, GuMiho could win with a very, you know, well finished push. Losing a tank, not the start. That's very unfortunate for him. But the Marines do drive off those mutas.
Yeah, but Soulkey is going to be able to establish this 4th expansion, and even though there's a drop up in the top left-hand corner, going to be able to kill off a couple of Overlords, do a little bit of damage. Soulkey, he's on a good drone count right now, 62. I mean, he could maybe use a couple more for 4-base economy, but he can pretty much just make pure units, and he's actually going to be moving in with these Zerglings, with the Banelings. Marines stimming on back. The Siege Tank's getting some good shots off, but these Banelings are going to go and not get, I guess, all the most amazing hits. Oh, killing off some of these SCVs is not too bad.
Yeah, only 5 though. Yeah, there was some misfire on those tanks. Could have been a little bit better for GuMiho, but just wasn't enough to really push through. And that was quite a lot from Soulkey, so a bit of like back and forth on who's throwing away just a few too many units. GuMiho's drop also supply blocked him during that attack, so if he was planning on reinforcing, that kind of stopped that. So very nicely done on the drops. And try and get some drones as well. Not so much.
Well, Medivac's gonna get forced back. GuMiho not able to make the drops happen once again. Soulkey though, with the 4th expansion finished up, still cranking out more of those banelings. It's always that kind of big question that you see when a Zerg player gets to the stage in the game. When do they start thinking about going up to the Hive tech? When do they start thinking about trying to get up to Ultralisk and all that big transitionary tech? Or are they just going to continue to try and pump out mass Mutilating Bane and try to make the damage happen?
I think it's a much tougher call when you open up with an all-in like that, you know? Like, the pacing of the game is just a little off for the Zerg player to know that I can get away with an Infestation Pit and Hive. Soulkey's creep spread is not looking too terrible. Unfortunately, there's only 1 creep tumor, so, like, the left side's looking a little bit bare, but something.
It is definitely a little bit, at least. It's going to make it kind of annoying for GuMiho to clean up, but... Or at least slow down this push a little bit. But yeah, like, it kind of sucks, because it's not along both sides. But then again, I think a Terran player wants a little bit more free space to move his Marines around and not get caught in the choke against the Banelings.
GuMiho gonna lift his main command center to the 4th. Not having a planetary there, I mean, it really does help to have a planetary, but... as long as you can have his sieged up units there too, that's fine. Ooh. Another tank goes down to that high ground. Oh, another SCVs! Oh, Jesus.
This is going to be a hard expansion to defend right now. The Banelings and the Zergers are all going to be coming on in at the same time that the expansion lands. Liberator is going to be able to force back these Mutalisks though, and I think that GuMiho has enough.
I think so too. A couple of last minute shots on those tanks were pretty darn good on the Banelings, but definitely wants to save the CC. There we go. Repair. This would be really devastating if Soulkey had all of that tech behind this, but he doesn't. He is really committing to Mutilating Bling. It really helped as well that GuMiho's upgrades finished during that attack, just slightly ahead of Soulkey's own 2-2. And this game is still going strong for both players.
I really like GuMiho's position a lot more now, though, because these Mutals are having such a hard time engaging against the Liberators. Okay, although they start to do a little bit of damage over there and kill off some of those Liberators. I mean, the Mutals count... It did dwindle a good bit, and Soulkey invested a lot into that, and only now is that Infestation Pit going to be finishing up. Only now is he starting to think about that transitionary tech, and I feel like it's going to be really late.
We just saw SCVs take out, like, 6 to 8 lings because they were, like, not A-moved. That was weird. Oh my god, this drop is so close to death. And these mutas are doing a lot of damage, though. I don't know. I think Soulkey still has more momentum, especially as these mutas just aren't being cleaned up too easily. More SCVs going down. I mean, GuMiho's on 5 bases now. Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
3 mining and a new planetary to be put down on the 5th. But Soulkey is making his way to ultras, and that is the true timer on TvZ for GuMiho.
Yeah, I think that's actually a really good point right now. I was a little bit worried that, GuMiho would be able to clean up those Mutals with the Liberate count he had and just easily push things back and go for a big push out before Ultras are actually able to finish up. And with the kind of like quasi-mediocre creep spread with only 1 active creep tumor, I thought maybe it would make it, be able to make the damage happen. But yeah, those Mutals really buying a lot of time, doing a lot of harassment, and GuMiho definitely falling very far behind in that supply.
I like that GuMiho doesn't have to worry about this Neuralon anymore.
He has to worry about those reactors. Oh my god, Mutalisk taking a lot of damage over there, but also taking out those Liberators.
There was a main attack that I sort of missed. You saw the tail end of it. It's a couple Banelings, a couple Lings are going to try and get on top of the SCVs. They're trying to split at last second, so not so bad. It's more that GuMiho hasn't been remaking any of the SCVs that he's lost. That does attribute to the fact that he's only at 43, less than the actual SCV count being called so much by Soulkey. But GuMiho's going to look to clean up this very, abysmal creep here. Just 1 or 2 creep tumors, and that's it.
And a third of the creep spread is now gone with that single scan.
Oh my god.
Soulkey, though, remaking a lot of the Mutalisks, remaking some of those Zerglings, and still has a decent chunk of Banelings. 14 Banelings still around, and oh my god, making a lot more.
Yeah, not going up to Ultras. Very interesting decision.
Adrenal glands going to be researched. So nice for those Zergling upgrades. I guess prioritizing that over the Ultralisk?
Yeah. I don't know about that, but it has been such a low, economy game because he's constantly trading that doesn't feel like he can go to ultras, but that's a lot of banelings. There's not much splash left over. The Liberators unsieged as well. The split's pretty good, though. Like, really good.
Yeah, a bit of an indecision over there from Soulkey also, where he was moving in with those banelings, and I thought he was going to actually get some pretty good hits off on the SCVs, but then turning around and facing off the rest of the army, ends up only killing off 6 workers and a very small chunk of the Marines. But here we go, Ultra's Cavern being thrown down, and Soulkey is continuing to pump out more and more of these Zerglings and banelings.
This feels so much more like a TvZ game, even with the Heart of the Storm game. Sorry, of course it feels like a TvZ. Even with the Liberators and the amount of Liberators that we've seen, because the mutas have actually been able to buy a lot of time. Like that does not happen that much in Legacy of the Void anymore. Usually, maybe they get like one good harassment in, and then they gotta defend, and then you want Corruptors by that time too. So then they just die. But these mutas have been very key in Soulkey's like continued presence and momentum in this game. I mean, he's invested a lot in mutas. 23 mutas have gone down compared to 13 Liberators. I thought that was a surprising number. Just to have 13 Liberators in general was a big number.
Oh God,
Jesus.
Gonna be losing a couple of them. That's a lot of the reason. These Liberators are a lot of the reason why you don't see Mutalisks, though. And so far, Soulkey's been doing a great job magic boxing and taking out those Liberators in head-on fights. And I guess that he's doing a good job of running away from these Liberators.
Yeah.
Just all the way across the map, but still, this is a very, very difficult and awkward situation with how many Liberators are out now. Like, this is more Liberators than were out at any other point in the game.
So GuMiho chasing those mutas is always a little bit questionable. Like, he didn't know what he was going to chase him into, and this time it was into Corruptors. He does get rid of most of them, though. They're not 4. I think maybe he wanted to chase, then siege, if Corruptors weren't on the way. But oh no, he sees the Ultras are out now. They don't have plating, but there's no attack happening either, so Soulkey's gonna have plating by the time a push actually comes in here. And I don't know if GuMiho really has enough. He has Liberators. They're a little scary being out in the middle of the map, but those are just very good defensively. Like, it's really hard to make them good on the offense.
Yeah, interesting spot to siege them up. Kills off a couple of these Zerglings and everything, but well, now we have the awkward standoff as the Corruptors are going to make it very difficult for those Liberators to siege up in a very nice spot. The Liberator count also did fall a decent bit. GuMiho still has about 7 or so of the Liberators and everything, so you can try and defend this 4th expansion, but this is one of those times where that 4th expansion feels very, very far away for a Terran player.
Yeah. Big thanks to Kankle_ for subscribing. Thank you so much. I don't think that Soulkey's going to be able to take this engagement. Again, those Liberators defensively are going to be hard to break, even with a massive amount of Corruptors. GuMiho is looking good on the economy with this new base all set up. It's actually an orbital, not a planetary. That was the new command center he made, so I'm very surprised it's not a planetary. But this is his natural now going towards over here. That's... I don't think that's ever going to really get up.
I love when I see English players do this. Terran players just like, I don't need to invest in a new expansion. That's ridiculous. I play Terran. I'm a nomadic race.
Yeah, exactly. Now Soulkey's not doing so bad on his own economy, taking down this base, and hell, might even get a gold base if this game goes on for very much longer. It feels like it shouldn't just because, you know, Ultras are out, but defensively, GuMiho is actually very well set up against Ultras. They are not going to be breaking the Liberators too easily.
Yeah, this is a really, really great setup over here for GuMiho, but at the same time, these Corruptors take out all the Liberators, and the Ultras, as well set up as you can be, it is still very difficult to deal with them. He cleans up the Ultras at the top side. Some of the Ultras at the bottom side, though, still raining terror, and there's not a lot to defend against them.
Yeah, it looks like this is actually going to be game. A couple Liberators off to the north. If they had been right... Well, I was going to point to it, but if they had been with the attack, it might have gone differently, but... That is going to end in Soulkey's favor. Those Ultras, the true timer.
The true timer to end all TvZs.
Oh.
Wow. Well, Soulkey looking pretty strong. Again, like, I think that's the big thing that I've noticed is that, and you made mention this in the last series also, but like in that last series, you also noticed like Soulkey was winning the games where you could get to that late game and really get into that big old macro stage. Even when he didn't go for like the big ultra rush, as a lot of players are very, very eager to get to that ultra stage. But Soulkey just showing like if he can get up to the late game, that's where his opponents are really going to struggle against him the most. And like the games that Soulkey loses are the games that he's up against early aggression really quickly.
Yeah. And he is spawning down here in the bottom right is the red Terran. He's down 1. It's GuMiho.
And in the top left, we have the blue Zerg player leading up the series 1-0. It's Soulkey. Well, it's probably a good time to remind everyone this is a best of 7, and of course this is the Olimoleague, so there is a slightly weird thing going on with the map pool and how that works out with a best of 7. Do you want to explain that, Zombie Grub?
Sure, so you do only have 5 maps in the Olimoleague. They got rid of Central Protocol and Orbital, I want to say? Yes, it's always like one that isn't really that bad of a map, but you get rid of anyways to force some variety, I suppose. So this will mean that if this goes to game number 6, which I think that it will, you're going to have repeats, 2 maps repeats, and it's going to be loser's choice on that.
Oh, very cool on how that works out, but in a way, I kind of like that because it also means that if you are the player who was ahead earlier on in the series, and your opponent plays catch up later on, like let's say somehow we end up seeing Soulkey go up to 3-0, GuMiho might start to make the comeback happen in game number 4 or something, but when you get to like in game number 5, when you get to game number 6 and 7, Soulkey's gonna suddenly have every map available. He's gonna get his first pick on maps for those last 2 remaining games. Like, it kind of does favor getting the lead earlier on in the series, which I think is a really cool dynamic that we usually see.
Yeah. I really don't remember the first... I want to say that the first reason that Olivia did this way, of course, Olivia in chat, Olimoleague, the one who created this and made it all possible, I want to say that it was because there was just such a terrible map pool when Olivia first started, which was like over a year ago, like a year and a half ago, actually. So
yeah,
I don't remember what map pool that would have been, but
I wonder if that was like the Blink Stalker map pool or something.
You know, it might have been. Damn, that was so long ago. Yeah, like... Yeah, maybe. Well, regardless, the point is that it was interesting enough to certainly keep it that way. It does, kind of differentiate the Olimoleague from other tournaments, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, we got something that's differentiating GuMiho from a lot of other Terrans I see. The 2 Reaper harassment, again, moving with just 2 Reapers. I'm really wondering, because normally I like to think about, like, Reapers and a lot of these other units in terms of, like, magic numbers. And 2 Reapers has just never been a big magic number to me on, like, how much damage can be done. Again, like, you get the same scouting you would have gotten with 1 Reaper, and it's not like you can start killing off Queens suddenly with 2 Reapers. Like, that's 3 Reapers usually you can start doing that kind of damage.
Remember back on Heart of the Swarm, where it was 1, 2, or 3? And, like, 3 meant you were going to go for the Hellion pressure, too? Maybe even Hellbats?
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I actually never really liked 2 Reapers, even in Heart of the Swarm.
Oh, I didn't either. I was like 1 or 3, not 2.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we got the Overlord drop. I don't know if we actually touched upon that. That's coming in. You did pan the camera over this, and this is going to be cute. And there's not a whole lot inside the main base over here for GuMiho to defend. In fact, there's actually no units over here. The Hellions are all at the front.
Yeah, they do come back. They went too far out of position, so only 3 SCVs go down. But it lost mining time, too. It gets a scout for Soulkey to see the Banshees. They were still alive? How are they still alive? So he'll be able to prepare against the Banshees, which is very nice for him to see. He also saw no armory, although there's a possibility it would have been over here. So knows he doesn't have to quite worry about a Hellbat attack. Oh
boy. Well, this is still going to be one of those very annoying push-ins. And the Reapers actually come into the main base. Going to be able to kill off 2 drones. 3 drones before getting killed off. And also manage to scout out the lair tech timing and everything. So I guess GuMiho kind of equalizing the scouting information that comes in, but oh god, that Overlord. I think those are new Zerglings. The Overlord just loaded up with new Zerglings, so dropping into the main base once again.
Yeah, and once again, there's something to defend.
Perfect timing on this.
Yeah, if Soulkey ends up just manhandling GuMiho in this game because of these drops, I will definitely be willing to change my answer about who's going to win this entire series.
Well, hold that thought. There's not a whole lot over here to defend against the Hellions. This is a lot of Hellions, and even though the drones are running at a good angle, it's going to be very difficult for them to chase them. Even the Evolution Chamber will make it very awkward for them to get out of here. I'm actually really surprised these Hellions are not getting into the mineral line. They're kind of trapped. Oh my god, that's a
Yeah.
clean wall off. That's amazing.
Wow. So 7 drone, or well, the Banshee. That's what's happening. So
Yeah.
that's what's starting to get those kills. As GuMiho was distracting with those Hellions. I don't think the Hellions were worth suiciding because there were a lot of Hellions. You're getting almost nothing, but that Banshee did get 9, or a lot of drone kills. So very nicely done by her. This one's gonna go ahead and try and just take care of this gold base. Soulkey did get some SCVs too, so the work account's actually in favor of GuMiho.
Yeah, Soulkey missing a cancel on one of the sport colors he was trying to build over that 3rd expansion. But, well, we're starting to see the game kind of take a step back as these guys both try and get a little bit more of their tech up and some of their more power units up. The Zerglings drop once again. You know, you'd think GuMiho would just be like, okay, screw it, let's just... This is why so many Terran players are getting the stupid Vikings these days.
Yeah, right? It might have been, but he is looking towards the Medivacs here with Stim and combat shields. 1-1 was pretty delayed because of the opener, but it's on its way. The Overlord's just going to try and scout here, so it's going to finally die.
It would have been so cute if you just had, like, a couple Banelings mixed in over here. Just make it look like the casual Overlord scout and just drop a couple of Banelings on, I don't know, like the tech lab researching Stim or something. That would have been great.
That would have been pretty cool.
How many Banelings does it take to kill a tech lab?
That's a good question. I have no idea. A lot.
Yeah, actually, it's 400 health. I think Banelings. I think it'd probably take at least like 8 to 10.
That's what I was gonna guess too. But
Well, it's the same amount as it would take to kill a supply depot. So I think it's 8, right?
huh, I've never thought about it that way. Yeah, you're right. Did you kill a supply depot? Oh no, I used to know this. I don't anymore. I want to say 5.
I mean, they have the same amount of armor and everything, same amount of health.
I've never noticed that about the tech lab and the supply depot.
Well, now you know when there's a wall in with a tech lab.
I
And a reactor is the same as the supply depot, same health.
Yeah. I can't believe that I forgot how many Banelings they take on a supply depot, because we see so few Baneling busts nowadays. I just don't like bother remembering. It's all
fair.
about, late game Banelings, mid game Banelings.
Oh, okay. Really quickly, want to talk about, the Mutals once again, and talking about that kind of critical mass of Liberators. There's only 2 Liberators out right now, but the 3rd and 4th Liberators are getting started. And this game, Soulkey is not quite able to make a lot of damage happen with his early Mutals, and he's not making a ton more Mutals behind this. He's now starting out 6 more. But I feel like those 6 Mutals are going to be coming out potentially a little bit too late, unless he's able to kill off some of these Liberators. Here we go. This is what I was talking about. Kill off these Liberators, keep that count low, and you can start to use these Mutals later for harassment.
Soulkey double expanding is a pretty good idea if you had a lot of bank, I suppose. They're still on even supply, pretty even workers, pretty identical army supply. Very surprised to see how even this game has become. Now, Soulkey, with all of those numbers, you'd actually say isn't looking too great. You don't want to be even workers with your opponent, but he has creep spread. He has these mutas that are buying a lot of time. He's picking off some key units, and we did see Soulkey just manage to solely steamroll Snowball against GuMiho in the last game.
Do you feel like Soulkey's... I know he's got a lot going for him in terms of like getting up his Mutals count, getting up his Hive Tech, and getting up all these double expansions. Do you feel like he's playing a little bit too greedy here? Do you think he's trying to do too much at once?
Maybe. I don't know about the tacking off of creep with slow Banelings, that's for sure. Okay, definitely pull back there. His Banelings almost done, but if he had like 900 minerals, there's just a point where you can't spend it because you don't have enough larvae. So the double expand doesn't strike me as greedy if that was the case.
I mean, it's like
pretty
that
low
as
minerals.
well as like going up for this like much faster Hive Tech than he ever did in any of the other games.
That's true.
And I don't know, like with GuMiho also getting still a little bit of mining off that gold expansion, I'm a little bit concerned that GuMiho is going to be able to do a lot of damage, but it doesn't look like GuMiho is going for a big attack. And well, I guess it might be okay. Especially, oh god, cleaning up all this, I feel like GuMiho is going to really not be able to make a whole lot happen now.
Yeah, that was questionable from the get-go. Just dropping in general, big drops it is, in the mid-game against Mita Bling is always questionable. You rarely see Doom drops win against this style of Zerg play. GuMiho is not giving up on drops. One off to the left's going to take an Overlord, might die though for it. And GuMiho's entire momentum that he didn't really have, to be honest, but maybe could have had if he attacked through the middle, it's gone now. He's got to go into the late game, which, well, it sucks for him.
Yeah, it sucks because I don't even know if he's going to make the late game, but even if he does make the late game, Ultralists are going to be waiting for him. Now, the nice thing about his situation is that this literal situation, the positioning over here for GuMiho makes it very difficult for Soulkey to engage into if GuMiho is well positioned, and he is pretty well positioned, but fourth expansion's trying to go up. He's trying to get that planetary fortress up, but I don't know if Soulkey's going to give him the time he needs to get into a nice position at there.
Planetary is about halfway done. It'd be great to... Well, you know, actually, this might be a blessing, because you can just lift it now. Yeah, just lift it. The Banelings roll into pre-split, pre-sieged everything, and this is not so bad for GuMiho.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure Soulkey, if you... Oh, it looks like people are saying it's 5 Banelings to kill off the Spidey Pool wall in. I play Protoss. That's my excuse.
I was right. Yay! I thought it was actually, as I saw 6, I thought it was 6. So I don't know. Because there's always you always see the Zerg players try and do the 2-base Baneling bust, and some of them get 1 less Baneling, and you just laugh at them, and you're like, nah, you didn't break my wall.
Well, you know what? I think the reason why I thought 7 or 8 was because you always end up seeing Zerg players get 1 or 2 extra Banelings just because it's very easy for 1 Baneling to get focus fire down. And it's you don't want that 1 Baneling to be the reason why you just couldn't bust down the wall.
Yeah, that is definitely true.
But that last attack from Soulkey really didn't go so well. He ended up losing a lot of his Banelings as well. And sure, I'm not going to take it away from Soulkey. Soulkey still has his Ultras out. He has the most insane crease spread going on. There's a lot of things still going very much in Soulkey's favor. But GuMiho, if you can take a couple more engagements like that, even especially against the Ultras or something, I could see this maybe starting to turn around a bit.
Well, it's not as bad for GuMiho as it was last game, where you're just barely getting those command centers up, and it was always low on supply. So he could definitely take a very good engagement defensively, but loses a good chunk of his units. No, saves them. Soulkey not going to take that engagement.
These Liberators, they're going to be able to do a lot of damage very quickly to this Mutalisk count. My big fear is that there's not going to be a lot to deal with the Ultralists. I mean, Siege Tanks are getting some okay shots off on these Zerglings. Now it's pretty much just the Ultras and the Mutalists, but with the Planetary Fortress over here, I think that GuMiho may be able to make this work.
I think so. The Ultras are slowly going down. The Corruptors are going to disengage into killing a good number of the Liberators. Got a couple of units over here, though, killing a lot of SCVs. Friendly fire from the Siege Tank also doing that. And that wasn't the greatest, but also wasn't the worst for Soulkey, who kept a lot of his price units alive, including these Corruptors.
Yeah, and I mean, he might have lost some SCVs during that engagement, but realistically, he's kind of close to his optimal-ish mining between his 2 bases at the gold expansion as well as the other mineral line. Well, I guess the big problem over here is that Soulkey is going to be remaxing much quicker on a very, very scary army composition of these Ultralists. And GuMiho is not going to have that nice little walling in for the positional defense like he did for that last engagement, retreating back to that planetary fortress. The Ultras are now coming in, and this is a scary spot. GuMiho is losing a lot.
Yeah, the Liberators are being slowly taken down by the Corruptors, but they did enough damage to the Ultralists. There's a couple transfuses, though, kind of makes up that damage. 2 more Liberators still alive, focusing down one at a time. Yeah, very good kiting. Now, the Liberators, they go down, so now the Medivacs are also going to go down, and the Corruptors still live. Still a very important part of Soulkey's army. They can tank so much, and there's so few Marines. They don't really care. They're going to type all of the air coming out.
Oh, man. So many of these Bioforces are just so dead because they don't have any Medivacs since those Corruptors took them all out. There's nothing to heal them. And each one of these stims is actually going to be very costly because I think if these Marines or Marauders start stimming even one more time, one Ultralist Cleave will actually start one-shotting a lot of these units.
Yeah. Oh no! Oh no! Piss Brigade! There's not enough
Oh
Marines.
boy.
Um,
Oh well, these Marines, a lot of them are stimming up.
They
The
died.
ultras are coming. Oh, okay, they're backing up.
but he still killed the orbital. I guess he can replace it.
Yeah.
Not that many minerals left.
Yeah, I mean, he has his orbital from his main base. He could do another liftoff when he wants to. And of course, he has that expansion on the right-hand side that Soulkey isn't really putting any pressure on because I guess he doesn't realize it's there. No, he sees the mining with the Overlord.
Yeah. Soulkey has been dominating the income graph for some time. And still taking really good engagements. Almost even resources lost, surprisingly. A couple of infestors going to be added in here. They do not have pathogen glands, so they're going to need some time to get those fungals ready to go. But when they do, ugh, goodbye army.
Oh,
They're
boy.
so close. 3, 2,
They're-
1. Okay, now they can go.
Gonna be able to throw down there's the fungal, but a little bit on the later side. Gonna be able to lock down enough of them though. And Ultralists, as soon as they get there, just like nom nom and
Cleave.
well, I mean, there's a good rally of units coming in for GuMiho. He's actually like picked off 1 or 2 of the infestors. The 4th expansion. Sorry, this I guess 3rd or 4th expansion, whatever you want to call it. Oh, okay. Well, the corrosive bile, or sorry, not corrosive bile, corruptors.
What is it called? Caustic spray.
It's
That's what
called
it is.
caustic. I remember now because we had that conversation about how like Ravagers and corrosive or the corruptors. I feel like they always got their name switched because you would think corrosive bile is what the corruptors are doing, and caustic spray sounds a lot like what the Ravagers are doing.
I kind of remember that. Kinda.
I always thought those names should have been switched.
Yeah, maybe. GuMiho is in deep trouble here. He is down 100, almost 100 supply. Not really an answer to the ultras anymore because he has no liberators, barely has any medivacs. There's the fungal. Fungal should end this game. GG.
Soulkey going up 2-0 in this best of 7. The fungal literally ending the game.
Yeah, that will happen when you know you're as well. So, once again, GuMiho's map choice. We have Ulrina, Laralac, and Ruins left over.
That's another really cool thing I like about the Olimoleague format. It's a sort of a return to, I want to say it's like the old style of map vetoing. Not necessarily in the sense that there's 5 maps and 7 games that we play, so we end up seeing a point where all the maps return to the map pool for game 6 and 7, but it's a return to the old style where it wasn't like all predetermined, predestined of what maps you were going to pick. You sort of pick on the spot, like, okay, now what map do you want to play on? It's not like, oh, let's do all of the map vetoes and pick game 1, 2, 3, and 4, as we ended up doing that. I think it became a lot popular ever since WCS became a thing. But I always preferred like this style of like pick it on the spot because it gives you time to see how your opponent's playing and play a little bit more reactively. You play with more information available, which I think is always cool.
Ulrina is GuMiho's map choice, and he'll be spawning in the bottom left as the Red Terran. GuMiho!
And his opponent in the bottom, or sorry, top left-hand corner of the map, we have the blue Zerg player leading up the series 2-0. It's Soulkey.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. Okay, so Soulkey, I gotta imagine, is gonna go for the Roach pressure again. GuMiho had some really, really nice counter, though. It's a horror back when we were casting that. It was just like, okay, I dealt with it. Well, I guess on this map, horror technically didn't do it. He's changed his mind to Mutas, but still. Oh, but never mind. GuMiho is going to change everything up and go for these double racks, triple racks, maybe? That would be cool. Soulkey, that's the reason he scouted. Yeah, this is the reason he scouted with the drone.
I'm a bit
clever.
surprised, though, that he still decided to go for this kind of play, even after he saw, like, that drone was following the SCV back home. It was very, very clear and obvious that this was going to get scouted, but he still decides to go for it, which is sort of interesting to me. And actually, this is going to be kind of annoying, because now the drone is going to be able to pick away at that SCV.
Might just be the worst looking proxy racks we've ever seen, because you should have 2 at least. And Legacy of the Void, you want 3. Oh, he kills the SCV.
Oh, God.
So, the supply depot was pretty clever, because you couldn't pull drones to kill your barracks building, but it's only 1 barracks. So, GuMiho has to change his plans here. He wanted more than 1. He brought so many SCVs. But it's not happening.
he even had to bring an extra SCV because you have to remember, like, he loses the SCV building a supply depot. If that supply depot didn't finish, GuMiho would have had, he wouldn't have had a way to get his oh, I guess actually he could have canceled the supply depot. I was gonna think, like, if he didn't finish up that supply depot, he has no way to lower it, so he couldn't actually get his Marines out, but yeah.
Alright, so this is odd. So
you know, I'm thinking about it though, like, we're talking about how common the roach play and everything is on this map.
yeah.
I don't think Soulkey's gonna go for that roach play anymore. Like, this is such a weird game. Like, he's really just thinking about, like, trying to deal with the aggression.
You know, he could have, and then just broken down the wall with a Ravager shot, but you're right, we're not going to see roaches. We're going to see a Baneling bust. Hey! I think it's going to be a Baneling bust anyways. He's getting a lot of lings, and he wants to bust down the supply depot.
A very important question for a Baneling bust. How many Banelings does it take to kill a supply depot?
I still don't know. I had 2 answers. I'm kidding.
Oh yeah, we had 5 and 6 as answers. Well, you know what? I will take a look at the damage that Banelings do versus structures.
We're gonna see. Like, this was such a popular all-in in Heart of the Swarm. Like, you would see it once every best of 5, twice every best of 7, you know, and you would know, like, okay, Soulkey.
Watch Soulkey.
There you go.
Make 1 too few many Banelings. He's making 5. Oh, zombie grove. Okay, there's the 6th. There's the 6th.
But yeah, and then you would know exactly what to do. But it's this is no longer the common all-in, and it's funny seeing Soulkey going for it. But it also makes sense because GuMiho was not expecting pressure. He was like, "I'm all good. I got the supply depot in the middle. What's happening?" He's got a bunker on the way.
It's 80 versus structures, and with 1 armor, I think that it is 6 then. 3, 4, 5. Yeah, you need 6.
Yeah. None of them being targeted down takes out all 3 supply depots. So of course GuMiho is supply blocked. There's not going to be instant reinforcements, however. That's the one trick about this supply depot over here.
There haven't been almost any SCVs that went down, though. 3 SCVs have gone down total, and now we're going to start to see some of them die to the Sea Shank friendly fire.
Yeah.
But GuMiho did a pretty good job so far with defending this. He's going to probably want to try and complete this wall in again, but I think he held really, really well.
Now, the problem is that it's still 1 base. 1 base versus 2 is not that bad for GuMiho, but, you know, it's going to be 1 at a time.
Oh, the supply block is real, though. That's a big problem. Like, I totally agree, like, being 1 base does kind of suck, but I was thinking, like, he'd be able to do this follow-up aggression with, like, the tech and, you know, do the Sea Shank harassment. There'd be nothing really effectively defending against it, but that's not going to happen because medevac is still supply blocked.
Yeah. A lot of supply depots have gone down in this game. These lings are checking to make sure the command center doesn't go on location, so it doesn't be put on the top. And Soulkey, little supply blocked himself. Awkward. Can just drone.
All I do is drone, no matter what.
Maybe make some army if you're being attacked. Though. I don't know. No matter what, sounds a little dangerous there, Fear Dragon.
That's one of the tempo songs.
I know. Based off of one of those real life songs.
All my ladder points go up. Well. Alright, well here comes the very, very delayed Sea Shank medevac drop that I think GuMiho wanted to do almost a minute and a half ago. And now there's going to be the Queens ready in position, the Lair Tech is already halfway done, and the Zergans are out. So he's going to probably, I mean, it's still going to be annoying to deal with this, but he should be able to clean it up pretty quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, that was close.
Need that 6-range pickup.
Warp Prism medevacs. Yeah, you know what? Give my Warp Prism the medevac speed boost, and I'm okay with it. And the ability to heal my units.
I would actually give that trade. I would take that trade. Well, I don't know about healing units, but the speed boosts, yeah, I wouldn't mind.
Well, I mean, it's the combination, right? I want my zealots to be healed as they're taking damage.
No, good sir, that's too powerful.
Yeah, exactly.
Your Warp Prism only costs minerals.
Yeah, but we have to go out of our way. It's not about the. It's not
what?
about the
You
minerals.
don't. You always get a robo.
It's the fact that our robo wants to be making observers and mortals and disruptors.
My God.
We have to take away. We're not getting into this. We're casting a ZVT. And we got our Spire coming up.
Why is he building a second Baneling nest?
That
habit though.
So we can research centrifugal hooks and. also lose another one to the drop. This is
Yeah.
the mind game. He's gonna let the drop kill off the Banling nest, and then he's still gonna come in with Banlings, and GuMiho's gonna be like, "What? I didn't know I need to split over here."
For realsies, though, it's just habit.
Yeah, it is.
Oh no, what's he doing? Oh, the Link's going into the
Oh.
minerals, or the Marines that are choked up.
Yeah, this is gonna start to get scary now as the Medivacs, along with the siege tank. It's gonna be able to do a lot of damage. There's not actually that many Zerglings out right now. More Zerglings and Banlings are gonna be coming out soon. He needs to buy a little bit more time though.
Queens are quite tanky. Almost get that medevac. Oh, finally gets it. A couple transfuses go down, and Banelings are now
Ooh.
done, so this is going to be pushed back.
Oh, did one of the Medivacs end up dying? I could have
Yeah.
sworn there was a second Medevac. Okay.
Get
That's a
sniped
bit
at
of
the
a
last
problem.
second.
Oh my god, these siege tanks
Snipe
they're
it!
doing
Snipe
some
it!
work.
Yeah, they are. The rally is still pretty strong. This is actually a fairly strong amount of units. Soulkey wants to get up to the mutas, which he does have enough minerals and gas for.
Oh.
The Liberator.
Drones are dying. The Liberator on the main base is up to 13 kills.
Wow.
Oh my
wow.
god, 11 worker kills. And it's killing off the eggs that were making Mutalists.
Oh, again? Again? Alright, this is just what happens on this map, I suppose. Oh my god, that medevac is so low. Why would you do this? Why would you... Okay, well that's a freebie there. For Soulkey is getting 8 mutas, gonna be able to clean up this Liberator and the rest of the attack, and even though he lost 13 drones, and that is pretty damn good for GuMiho, pushing back the army would also be good, but oh wait, that's the 3rd reinforcement line, and that's still pretty good.
Oh,
No more Banelings. The mutas, they could probably take this on if the drones are
Why
pulled
is there
too.
2 SCVs with this push in?
To repair the medevac that keep on dying.
That didn't work out so well. Marines are all going to get taken out. The Mutalists should be able to clean this up. And, oh god, you know, GuMiho keeps doing some impressive amounts of damage, but he's sacrificing all of his units over and over and over again. And I understand he's been doing damage again. But, yeah, GG. He just doesn't have enough.
Huh.
I'm actually a little bit surprised by that GG, because I feel like maybe with some bunkers he could have held
Right?
on, but...
Because Soulkey was also only on 33 drones, but I guess he figured the mutas would get out of control.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know, maybe if you throw down like 8 missile turrets.
With all the minerals that he had. I don't know.
Yeah.
He still had 42 SCVs. Well, that means that this is the potential last game of the day, and with that in mind, we'll wait for GuMiho's map choice, which is going to be ruined, so we know. We're going to go to a really, really quick commercial break. Not too long. See you guys in a second. Alright, we're back. So, whoops, wrong game screen. There you go. We are back. It's potentially the last game of the day. And surprisingly, in the bottom right, down 3-0, he's the Red Terran, GuMiho.
And in the bottom left, we have the purple Zerg player. Still sitting up 2-1. Give it up for Soulkey.
Alright. I really thought GuMiho almost had that last game. I thought maybe Arena was like his, you know, ace match or ace game, whatever you want to call it. It's his best.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for. The best map that he has available for him. And if he was able to get to game number 5, as we were talking about earlier with the map pool, or game number 6, sorry, with the map pool, we would have been able to choose it again, you know, and maybe actually continue this series to the actual ace. But no, not so much.
A bit of a weird situation with that. But hey, you know what? We get more StarCraft, so not the worst situation in the world. Wait. Oh my god, what am I talking about? No. GuMiho, wait. It's 3-0 in favor of Soulkey right now.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Yeah, I did not say that though. So I'm gonna call myself out on the mistake and apologize for that.
It's so early.
I definitely just said it was 2-1. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with me. I think it was because, you know what, I know exactly what's wrong with me. That game looked like I really also agreed with you. I felt like GuMiho was going to be able to like take that game, and in my mind, like I think I still was just categorizing GuMiho as like winning that game.
Yeah. I have definitely done that to other series for sure, so I don't blame you much at all. But we have actually oh, actually, I think we did miss a sub. Oh, I'm sorry. Kankle subscribed 36 minutes ago. So sorry about missing that. I actually didn't hear the stim either. It might have been during an engagement or something, so I thought it was the actual unit stimming. But thank you so much.
Yeah, you know, I actually wondered about that when Rifkin decided to make that the Twitch alerts sound effect. Because I was like, but aren't you guys gonna hear stims normally? Like, anyways? I could see it being easily confused.
No. Well, hopefully you're still in chat watching this potential last game of the day. Again, that's so crazy. I really thought GuMiho was the one who was going to be up, like, 2, maybe 3, and then take that 4-2. But Soulkey was just, you know, his media control has been so great, his read on the game has been pretty good, and, you know, GuMiho might have chosen Ruins, but it was of a limited map pool, and I'm not even so sure he's really excited about playing on this map versus Soulkey.
Ooh. Yeah, well, we got that 2 Reaper opening that GuMiho loves so very much. Not managing to make his way into the main base or scout anything out over there or see if there's a Roach Warren or something crazy coming out, but, well, actually, I guess Roaches I could see being a thing on this map, just because of how wide open that natural expansion choke is, how easy it would probably be to get your Roaches up into the high ground.
Yeah, you can bring an Overlord, tear down supply depots. It could happen, and I was going to go more for the spawn positions because they are closer spawns, the horizontal spawns. Like maybe you get a little bit aggressive with the Roaches, but I think typically Ruins goes for Spire now. Now that people have, you know, finally been like, okay, Spire can work. Because there was a time, like 3 months ago, where it was like, mutas must be dead. All hail the Roach Ravager.
Oh god. That was not my favorite time of TvZ. Really do actually prefer a lot of this other style that we've been seeing with a lot of the mutals coming out. And, ooh, I hope we'll get to that stage, because the Hellions getting a lot of damage done. I mean, what was that? 2 Hellions and 2 Reapers killing off 8 workers?
That was some good damage there. Whoopsie. Supply block. Not supply block. Caps lock.
Caps lock.
Yeah, same thing.
I actually want a new key now that instead of saying caps lock, it says supply block.
What would you ever use it for? Supply blocking yourself? That sounds terrible.
No, you know what? I would change my pylon key to the caps lock key, just so I could say like, oh, I'm supply block. Time to unsupply block myself. By hands. Actually, I would change it to the supply key. The supply key.
I was gonna say this is. You're not making any sense, Fear Dragon. Delusional.
Delusional. Well, we got Cloak coming out on the Tech Lab again. We got Banshees coming out. I really have been liking the return of Banshees in this matchup.
Yeah. Now in versus Soulkey, they haven't really been doing too much, but I mean,
Yeah.
there's oh wait, no, that was yesterday. Darn it. Getting my cast mixed up. I was thinking of that Scarlet game with the Banshees, and then I made myself sad too by thinking about that. Whoops.
Oh, poor Scarlet. Oh, Polt. But yeah, the first Banshee moves in, only manages to get 1 kill, maybe delays a little bit of that gas mining. But yeah, it doesn't really make a whole lot happen. One of the things I like about the Banshees, though, is that if you can actually just keep them alive, I think this is something that you and Rifkin have said multiple times. It's like nobody expects the delayed Banshee. And I feel like that applies in like every single matchup. Nobody expects the delayed. Like if a Banshee were to come in 3 minutes from now into one of the mineral lines, you just be like, wait a second, did I even make an Overseer? Where the hell is my Overseer? Like I'm sure I just accidentally like lost it to some random attack in.
Yeah. There's been a couple of times the Banshee has been so delayed that, you know, the Spore Crawlers weren't down. Just, you know, why would you expect it? So, what is, I guess, interesting, you know, talking about the Banshees, that means that there was no Liberators early on. So GuMiho, despite going for Liberators always at the end, you know, for the late game, hasn't done any Liberator pressure that I can remember. Like actually sieging up on the drone line really early and causing Soulkey a little bit of headache that way. Maybe once.
Yeah. Oh, 7 more workers do end up going down. The Banshee definitely starting to pay for itself a little bit more. And the other Banshee coming back in. But the Mutals are finally out, and this should theoretically be able to put at least a huge dampener on the amount of damage that can happen. But again, it's the idea that there's only 1 Overseer actually out right now, and it's not exactly in every location it needs to be. Well, I guess there's a 2nd Overseer now.
Misses the Banshee? There we go.
Oh.
Okay. So that's it for the Banshee Menace. Phantom Menace. Ha! The Cloaked Menace. Ah, gig.
Imagine if it had hyperflight rotors.
then it would be the... Away. Oh yeah, it definitely would have gotten away. Are you kidding me? The Overseer never catches that thing. But 1-1 is almost done for both players here. There weren't a lot of mutas to start off with for Soulkey, but he's getting 5 more to bring up to a total of 11. That's a lot better. That's actually going to be able to snipe off units, and even more, in fact. His creep spread is okay. Lacking on this little landing here, but I don't think Soulkey's really going to want to expand to this direction. Usually not a good idea. His expansion's going to go over here and over here. But his mutas, they're in the middle of the map right now. They're not catching this double medevac drop, which could be deadly to this natural drone line.
Oh, yeah, this is going to be a scary moment. Okay, looks like they are going to be backing up. The Mutalist may end up catching it. Yes, he does see it with the Overlords. The medevac boost has already been used. He's going to end up losing one of them with almost all the Marines still loaded inside. He does manage to save the second one, but I do want to give a huge shout out to, I think it was B Mellow. Thank you so much for the, was it 3-month resubscription?
Nice.
I missed it. Oh, man, where is it? 4 months. 4 months. BB Mellow. Thank you.
Thank you. Alright, so Soulkey might have been able to take on those medevacs, or the medevac that dropped out Marines, but deciding not to. He's at a very comfy mutalist count of 16, and is making his way to the infestation pit. So looking towards that hive. His creep spread was not really cleaned up, just a little bit over here, and then the drops utterly failed. And drops are never, obviously, very good at cleaning up creep. It's always the give and take of doing the drop or not. Worth it if you kill 20 drones, of course, but not worth it if you don't do anything, and they're just going to overwhelm you with creep spread soon.
Yeah, at the same time, though, GuMiho's Liberator count is getting kind of out of this world with 4 on away at a time. But this is the same thing we saw previously, where there's 1 medevac out right now for GuMiho, because he keeps losing those medevacs and those drops. And he just, instead of making more medevacs, he's making more Liberators. And I get worried again. It means that every single time he stims, it's not going to be healed up for a very long time.
Yeah. I really wonder what is, you know, the 2 Korean Terrans you saw today, all about those Liberators, and like as, you know, quick as you can get them, really. I realize that fast Ultras are definitely powerful, but more often we see them die because of a mid-game push that hits before Ultras than, you know, Liberators actually saving the day and killing the Ultras on the defense. We see more often, of course, in this series, Soulkey just getting Corruptors, you know? He's obviously has a Spire. Getting to Corruptors is not too difficult afterwards, and I really don't know about the Liberators. Wow. There goes my voice. Sexy.
Hang in there. You're almost through. But yeah, right now we have the Hive Tech going up, a lot of Banelings being made, and 2-2 all finishing up for Soulkey, as well as the creep spread also being pretty decent. I would love to see a little bit more creep spread on the south side, since some of that did get cleaned up, but things are looking pretty scary right now for GuMiho. He's getting close to being maxed out. He's getting a very, very scary army, but this push-in, there's going to be a lot riding on it, I feel.
Ideally, GuMiho's forward planetary, and it definitely has to be a planetary if it's going to be like this. Center Towers 2, he's really setting up for that long game. If GuMiho is also being a Gumi god with the drops, which we've seen before, like we've seen him almost win against late game Ultras simply because of drops, then I would love the defensive Liberators, because it'd be like, you know, Mutas against a Protoss. Eventually, Protoss just says, like, F it, and then goes to push, and their push usually doesn't look too good, right? And that would happen with Soulkey. He should be like, I'm done with dealing with drops, let me just push in with the Ultras, and the Liberators all sieged up would absolutely wreck the Ultras. But GuMiho simply being defensive.
Okay, well, GuMiho's found a way to be offensive, and that's just to walk in and kill all of the Mutalists. Just, like, casually stroll in and kill them all.
It sucks to lose a Mutalist, but it's almost like a favor to Soulkey, who is done with the Mutalist harassment, and just makes Corruptors now. So, I don't know.
I mean, does GuMiho still need the Liberators? Oh, okay. Maybe trading them out versus the Corruptors is not the best way to do it, but still, I feel like GuMiho's probably okay remaxing on other things, right? Like, and replacing that's fine. Well, no, he's making more Liberators. Yeah. I don't know. I've never been a fan of the Liberator response to Ultralists.
No, me neither, but that is his response. If it's a macro game too, where you're not even that pressured, neither of them really were this game, then I definitely would have liked to see Ghosts, but pushing in here, just chaos everywhere. Here come the Corruptors now to clean up all the medevacs and Corruptors, as most of the Marines have died. Is there round 2? There is round 2 ready to go for Soulkey, but GuMiho does take a supply lead. Maybe he can do it.
Failings exploding on the Siege Tank rather than the Marines and Marauders, and the Siege Tank even survives. The Marines going to be able to push these Corruptors back. Corruptors, I almost feel like they should do their caustic spray on the Siege Tank. There we go, it ends up dying.
If only they could. Now, GuMiho did lose his 4th base, so this was not exactly all in as he's reloading it right now. Actually, it's floating it over, my bad. But, you know, it could have been better. It's pretty damn good, though. It really cut into Soulkey's Ultralisk production because he was just about to start chitinous plating. In fact, Soulkey, he probably thought, like, oh, I can definitely beat this, and that's why he bothered taking the engagement. Otherwise, you just buy time until you get to Ultras, and then you have, like, an almost guaranteed engagement. But he felt really confident, and it bit him in the butt here. He might finally lose a game.
I mean, here's the thing, though. GuMiho needs to continue that pressure. Or, sorry, GuMiho needs to continue that pressure if he wants to make use of that. Because, yeah, he did a lot of damage, but he didn't kill off any of the expansions. He killed off the army. He didn't kill off a ton of workers. He killed off the army. I kind of feel like GuMiho is giving maybe Soulkey a little bit too much room to breathe and to start to get up his army again. I will say that, of course, there is still a nice worker lead right now for GuMiho, but it is a dangerous situation where if he waits too long, the Ultras are going to get out, and Soulkey can make some miraculous defenses happen with those Ultralisks.
Yeah. Agreed. Like, as long as you don't let the Liberators siege up, like, right here off the bat, then he should be good on the defense with Ultralisk.
Where are these Marines and Marauders chasing these Corruptors to? To the ends of the earth!
To hell and back, man. He really wants them. I mean, they're kind of expensive.
My name is Enrico Montoya. You killed my command center. Prepare to die.
And my Liberators.
And my Liberators, yeah.
Oh my god, did he kill a couple of ones that were making Ultras? Stupid Liberators and their egg killing capability.
This is going to create a really weird push-in where there's the push-in at the north side that I really don't think Soulkey was expecting, but there's also the double drop moving in at the natural expansion. That actually almost managed to kill off an Ultralist, which is really nice, but Soulkey might have some trouble dealing with this and doing the good unit split up. Oh, Spire's being
GuMiho, he got maxed out pretty quick. Went from, like, you know, 50 supply till to just 4 away, and I think Soulkey is going to lose this game. The Ultras have a tough job. They can do it. They definitely can. They're actually great drop defense if you just leave one in each base, but Soulkey needs to buy a lot of time. His base count really isn't that bad, even as he takes away these drones from mining, but he would need a lot of time to get back to a max army himself.
Yeah, the Corruptors just have not been able to get on top of these medevacs, and it really makes it quite difficult for the Ultras to ever catch up, because this map has so many different cliffs. It's so easy to abuse and drop in one location and pick up as soon as the Ultras get there, and just move to another with a medevac boost. Looks like one of the expansions does get picked off, and the medevacs are still alive and waiting. At the same time, GuMiho also starts to clean up some of this creep, and Soulkey, I think Soulkey is just hoping he can get to that almost maxed out situation, and from there he can make use of his army and start taking the expansions again. But his priority is, let me just get up an army so I can take the expansions, then I'll worry about actually taking them.
Yeah, not a bad idea, but that's where drops really going to be tough to deal with, and that's why GuMiho should continue with them. Actually, has 4 medevacs worth of drops here, but there's an appropriate amount of Ultralisk. Corruptor's gonna have a little bit harder of a time than Mutalisk would against the drops too, and not many minerals to put into solid static defense. Oh, that is a big push. That is a big push, and these Ultras have no supports. They're gonna be targeted down. Good focus fire.
Yeah, the Marines and Marauders, I mean, they're getting very, very low on health, but there's so many medevacs, they're already healing up quite a bit. At the same time, the drop on the other side of the map does get cleaned up, or at least the medevacs do. The Marines are still there and could actually waltz their way into the middle line, but we end up seeing the remainder of the units for Soulkey retreating down to the south side, ready to try and deal with GuMiho's attack, and here we go. The Marines are trying to move in. I think there's a single Ultralist for Soulkey ready to defend that top base.
Yeah. +3 air weapons, by the way, for GuMiho. Don't see that too often.
Wow. Very useful for all those Liberators he has. All 5 of them? 4 of them?
Well, no, less. Corruptor's on top of it. Without support, however, these Ultras are just going to start fumbling and falling down, and they're just big old expensive paperweights with GuMiho's focus fire. Very good control out of GuMiho. Drop is going to take down a very important mining base, one of the last mining bases, as this is almost mined out, and this might just be game. The Ultras have get some super good swings on this army to bring it back, and even then, GuMiho is still on a very good economy.
I mean, it's now sitting at the point where we're at almost 100 supply lead right now for GuMiho. And Soulkey, who normally looks really, really strong in the late game, does get taken out in one of the games by GuMiho, which is really, really impressive and cool. But what do you feel like was the real critical thing that GuMiho did right to bring himself into such a big lead in this game?
I actually think Soulkey did wrong, I guess.
That's
so
fair,
GuMiho
yeah.
definitely did drops correctly this game, you know, which has been lacking in some of the other games. So that's his kudos to him. But Soulkey taking that engagement, thinking that it would go really well for him, I think is where he would pinpoint the beginning of his loss.
GG. GuMiho maybe looking to bring it back. I want to remind you guys that as we hop into game number 5, there is only going to be one map left, but this is a map pool with only 5 maps, and that means if GuMiho manages to bring this back and wins one more game after this, he then has to play the last 2 maps on Soulkey's absolute whim of whatever map he wants to play on from the entire map pool of the 5 maps available. Like, Soulkey gets his #1 map choice for the remaining maps for game number 6, and #2 map choice for game number 7. It's a really nice spot to be in for Soulkey. Just because I think the way that the whole system is set up, it does sort of favor getting the wins earlier on rather than later. So GuMiho still has a tough uphill battle to face off against.
In the top left, still on his last life, it's the red Terran GuMiho.
And his opponent, still 1 game away from victory, the teal Zerg player. Give it up for Soulkey, who I think switched colors.
He did. Used to be blue or purple?
I wonder if that's because Olivia made it.
Maybe. Maybe it wasn't automatically his choice. I don't know. As long as it isn't purple and blue or red and pink, then I don't care.
You know, there used to be a thing where you could automatically always make it red and blue. Whatever happened to that feature? That used to be a thing in Heart of the Storm.
There's the option to make it red and green when you're playing.
Yeah,
But
I remember when casting, though, there were times that I would just always make it red and blue. I feel like, unless I'm going crazy, unless I'm just, like, dreaming of this magical feature that never existed.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like you're talking about I don't even actually know the official name of it, but you would click it like when it would be next to the minimap when you're playing.
Yeah.
That's actually, what is that hotkey? It's not Alt X.
I think it's Control Alt C or something.
Please don't break anything.
I don't know.
That's APM. good choice.
No, Control C is APM. Control Alt C is APM with Alt held down.
Great, thanks. But the point is, I know some of you are going to bring up that option and ask why we don't do that. It's because on the overlay, the mod that we use, it actually just turns it into a deeper color. Like, it doesn't actually change colors. So it's like a bit of a deeper red.
I wonder for colorblind people if it like actually just makes things worse or better.
I don't remember. I think they might have said it made it worse, but we've been trying to be more and more considerate.
You tried to fix it, but you just made it worse.
Whoopsie. But yeah. Is yellow an available color? Why don't I remember this?
I'm pretty sure yellow's available.
No, orange is, because Journey freaking loves orange.
I'm almost positive yellow's available. I know it's available in like arcade games and stuff because I know I've had multiple times in like games of Risk and stuff that I'm like, damn you yellow, but
it definitely is because Horror chose yellow. I remember he likes yellow, and I feel like that's the least chosen color though. When I see
it's such a horrific color.
It is. It really is. It's good on Protoss kind of.
You missed the joke there because it's horror. Okay.
Oh,
we have once again the tech lab being built right next to the starport. And, you know, for a lot of other Terran players, maybe a month ago, I would have said, you know what, we're going to see that Liberator opening. But GuMiho been going for those Banshee openings, and we'll see if it works out once again. As I'm willing to bet he's going to go for the Cloak Banshees again. And he always gets Cloak. That's the other thing.
Yeah, he hasn't gone for, like, that safety Banshee, which I think is fine. There's the first Banshee on the production tab. A couple of Hellions run right in, accidentally lining up here when they meant to surround the Hellions. So 3 drones go down, not too shabby. Soulkey already into a third base, though, is not going to cry too much about these drones.
Yeah. Hellion, I mean, it does a pretty decent amount of damage, like you were saying. Considering it just gets the scout off, it gets some information. The next 2 Hellions are going to be coming in. This is the only kind of downside to it, is that your opponent's going to make all these Zerglings that are like, oh man, I made all these Zerglings to deal with the Hellions, and now what do I do with them? And it's like, oh, well, just kill the next set of Hellions that are coming in.
I think this is more worrying because he might not be paying attention to the
micro.
scouting. He is going in here, though, so... Gonna see the tech lab. Well, that lane just skirts on past. Hey, what are you doing there?
Yeah, Overlord actually also moves in and sees that tech lab and everything else around it, so he should have some time to get up Spore Crawlers? Question mark? He does want to start up those Spore Crawlers soon. If he realized what was coming, I don't know if he really registered what was coming.
Well, the link definitely saw it. I mean, the Overlord sure it died,
I don't think he realized it. I think he saw it, but he didn't actually realize what was happening. He may have just been in autopilot mode, thinking like, oh, I forgot how this entire series is gone, and the fact that GuMiho keeps going for Banshees, it's probably a Liberator attack or something. I have time.
If GuMiho had waited until Cloak, the Spore Crawler wouldn't have been so badly timed. But he didn't, and he got that queen for it. I don't know if that was actually what Soulkey was intending. I think he also was autopilot. What the what? What the what? Oh my god, he's going for it. Ye old Goomy god.
What is he going for? There's an armory and a fusion core going down. Is this a Liberator?
He's going to go for mech, but air mech is the way that people have been trying to make it work now. So we have seen this a couple of times. This fusion core might be for Banshee speed first or Liberator range, and battle cruisers are going to come out way later, potentially. But GuMiho to do it on Lilac Crest is pretty scary because, well, it is a very small map. He doesn't get a third base on location, and Soulkey doesn't realize what's up yet, but his Overseer's going in here. And 2 starports? Oh, yeah. Like, psh, what else is it going to be?
Alright, well, Spire's coming on up. We'll see how it does against this. Well, Hyperflight Rotors, I'm both very, very happy and very, very confused and interested to see how this is going to go.
Oh, it works out beautifully. So the problem with most games this happens is that the Zerg sees it too late. So yes, this is not a lot of units on the ground. But the Banshees will cover you against Ling Floods, even though Ling Floods can still be dangerous. And they'll definitely cover you against Roaches. A couple of Hellbots get in here, but not too hard to deal with. Queens. More so that the drones are able to be pulled.
This Banling's getting I mean, I guess you kill off the Hellbats. That's important.
Yeah. But anyways, continuing is that by the time they see it, they're not even going to attack you, and the Banshees would give you a lot of time to survive anyways. But what we haven't seen is someone already going up to a Spire this quickly. Oh, the Banshees going down here really sucks. So I think that Soulkey is better set up to defend against this than other games you might have seen from Zerg players. But the real key here is that the Banshees will be able to outrun the Overseer even with the speed upgrade, and that's what they're looking to abuse.
That's definitely going to be nice, but one of the really sad things is that GuMiho ends up losing a lot of those Banshees before Hyperflight Rotors even finishes.
Yeah.
And that really sucks, because I think a lot of this build, I imagine, is about building up a critical mass of Banshees. You need enough Banshees that you can just start darting around with Hyperflight motors, dealing massive amounts of damage before the Overseer can actually catch up with the Banshees and allow those beetles to detect them. But, well, this makes it a lot more difficult. Banshee's still alive, though, and they're going to be able to pick off this 4th expansion at least.
Yeah. Only one Banshee actually went down. It was just the other 2 got really low, and it was quite scary. So, still at 4 Banshees is enough to utilize that hyper... The speed. That's such a mouthful. I'm just gonna say speed. I don't care anymore.
Just it's like a Pokemon Hyper X potion, but then it's with flight. And the way that they do it is with rotors. There we go.
I mean, I don't necessarily have a problem remembering the name of it. Just that it's like centrifugal hooks. Like I do remember it, but it's such a mouthful. So just say Banning speed.
Yeah, I think I pissed a lot of. Oh god, both of the Banshees actually end up going down to the because they're in range of the Spore Crawler. That's a little bit unfortunate. What I was gonna say, I actually just say centrifugal hooks, and I think it pisses a lot of people off, and I know I'm saying it wrong, but I don't really care.
Yeah, I know about that, Robbie.
Alright, Zombie Girl, so how do you feel like this game is going to transition out as the Liberators are now being made over here for GuMiho?
I would just say as expected, but you know, GuMiho's kind of improved on this style. We've seen it before on Dusk Towers from him, as well as one or two other, like Lily Canine, for instance, Terran players. But the addition of the Hellion run-bys and Hellbat attacks, I think could be really good. I don't think they've done quite enough. I mean, 27 drones is definitely something, but I just don't know if that's actually, because like Soulkey's not.
You have a lot of minerals though, right? Like when you're going for Banshees and Liberators and Thors,
right.
like, you're gonna have a huge mineral bank, so it's okay to sacrifice the Hellion, right?
It's like the mineral bank that could have gone into extra command centers versus the mineral bank for Soulkey that could go into whatever extra he would have gotten, right? Like, so I don't know where it evens out, but I think that maybe this has been enough damage, and the Muta is certainly going to have a tough time against the Liberator transition, which it looks like Soulkey was not anticipating, even though he has played against the style before.
Yeah, gonna be killing off a lot of these Mutalisks very, very quickly, and there's not a lot left for Soulkey right now to defend. The Corruptors are gonna be coming out, but there's only 3 Corruptors out right now and 1 Corruptor in the production tab. I don't think that's gonna be enough to deal with this. Soulkey may end up losing all of these important expansions.
Yeah, I think he's gonna straight up lose the game. He's getting roaches right now desperately. Like, they can turn to Ravagers, which can help, but I think he really wanted to have a mass amount of Corruptors had he scouted the transition to Liberators, or he knew what he was going up against. But too tunnel visioned on the Hellbat attacks, tunnel visioned on the Banshee cleanup, and he didn't get any, you know, secondary scout. So, GuMiho, bringing it back, man.
Yeah, a lot of roaches coming out. I guess the response that Soulkey wanted to go for was getting out some Ravagers or something and start throwing down Corrosive Bowels en masse against the Liberators and also the Banshees, but it's not gonna come into effect, it looks like.
So the thing about this is that it's usually like a one-off in a best-of series, though. Like, Soulkey should anticipate every move next time he sees the double starport. But it would be very interesting to see it happen again. Soulkey GG's! GuMiho! He's not going out without a fight.
Bring it to game number 6, but again, this is where I keep talking. I say that, like, you know, this is a really, really big deal. I know it's not necessarily like the biggest of deals, but it does play a pretty significant impact in the fact that Soulkey can literally pick any map that he wants for this game number 6, and he gets to do it again for game number 7. It's like, imagine you were doing map picks in a best of 3, but your opponent is the only one that actually gets to pick maps. You don't actually get to have any say in the maps whatsoever. Like, that's kind of what it's like right now.
It's definitely still in favor of Soulkey in this best of 7. And now all the maps are available to get our admin letting Soulkey know what's up. Olimoleagues have been hit or miss with the final. Sometimes we have, you know, kind of disappointing ones, but sometimes we have really awesome ones. But to go to an ace match, I think, is still the rarest occasion. The actual 4-3 scores. For a while, we actually had a lot of disappointing finals, where like all the games leading up to it would be amazing, and then the finals just be like, eh. But that's changed recently.
Yeah, that's actually pretty accurate. But we're gonna be hopping into this, and oh my god, I actually just saw the coolest little, like, very, very useful fact from somebody on Reddit. Did you know, in Heart of the Swarm, like, mules ignored saturation and mine simultaneously? But in Legacy of the Void, only 1 mule is able to mine for a mineral patch.
Oh, like 2 mules could have before, but now they can't?
Yeah, I know that mules used to have, like, infinite amounts of potential saturation. Like, you could have 25 mules on 1 mineral patch, but in Legacy of the Void, apparently only 1 mule is able to mine from a mineral patch at a time.
3-2 now. Very exciting. In the top right, as the Red Zerg, he is TCM Soulkey.
And in the bottom right, looking for the comeback, it's the blue Terran player, GuMiho.
GuMiGod. Yeah. He got that name, if you guys don't know. Maybe you're new. Maybe Legacy of the Void brought you back, as opposed to being, you know, the old the oldie of the StarCraft 2 community, but he always played Air Mech on a map called Deadwing. Oh, yes? Yes, Deadwing.
Was that?
Oh, so close.
Oh man.
I was actually
forgot
gonna
that was
say,
GuMiho.
I was gonna say Entombed Valley, and I was just like, no, no, Deathwing.
Oh my god, that is
Warcraft.
that is a throwback map right there.
Right?
Tomb Valley.
Yeah, I hated that map. No, Deadwing, he did a lot of, he wasn't the first abuser. I'm sure a lot of Avillo fans will come out and say, like, Avillo was the first one doing it, but GuMiho was the one that was, like perfecting it, doing it against, like, very, very high-tier Zerg players in both the online cups, Olimoleague. He's been playing Olimoleague for a very long time, since the beginning, as well as, like, the GSL matches and whatnot, and he was just so good with it that he would be, like, at one point he was literally unbeatable. Everyone would try everything against the guy, and he would get to max, and with Battlecruiser, and he'd be like, I don't care. He'd win. Like, I think we saw him lose twice out of, like, 30-plus games. It was insane. So to see him kind of going back to that was fun, was cool.
Yeah. It's really cool also that GuMiho has just been playing in so many Olimoleagues. I almost feel like if he wins enough Olimoleagues, like, he should just set some number, like, if he wins 10 Olimoleagues in a year, Olivia should just buy him, like, an Olimoleague branded towel that he can put over his hand. If the Olimoleague ever decide to sponsor players, she could buy, Olivia could buy a towel for GuMiho.
That's amazing. Kind of forgot that he was the, so GuMiho, known for GumiGod mech. He has a condition where he sweats a lot, so he does have, he's also the Towel Terran. And then he also, I believe, was the Terran that had the booth collapse on him. In Pro League, which is
I
kind
forgot
of
about that. You're right. Oh my god. Thank God he had that towel there to protect his hand from any damage.
It's so unfortunate that GuMiho has been so consistent, and he's always been so cool of a player, of a Terran player. He was also one of the first ones to actually attempt Ghost versus Infestor Broodlord in Wings of Liberty and almost make it work. Yet he's never really gone up to, like, God tier status, as much as we joke about the GumiGod. Like, it's mostly, like, the fans of the Olimoleague that really recognize his name 100% and are like, he's really good. Otherwise, the GSL, he's like, oh yeah, that guy's good. I know his name, but do I expect him to win? No, not at all. Like, I expect SOS and all them other guys to win. But he is, it's really a treat to have him going still strong in the Olimoleague for over 14 months at the very least.
Yeah, it's been awesome. Reaper does move in, kill off a single worker. We do have a 3cc build from GuMiho, so finally mixing it up from that really fast Banshee play that he's been going for in so many of these games. As I guess he realizes, like, hasn't been working out super well. That of course, as you said, like, the last game that it did work out, it was kind of a one-off build, follow-up.
Yeah. Soulkey's gonna go for 2 base lair. Like I said, I think he wanted different spawns on this map than the last time they played. It was also a case of, he might just recognize he made one critical mistake with that fight and still likes the map in general, because he had all 5 maps to choose from. And if you're gonna choose this first, then you're gonna like it. But to get to these vertical spawns means that, his harassment with Mutas could be more effective with a lot of dead space up here. And I think it is gonna be Mutas. And, there's not, like...
That'd be really cool.
What?
If GuMiho went for that same style as the last... I know, it's obviously much too late for that now, but if he had gone for that same style with these spawns, can you imagine Hyperflight Rotor Banshees darting from their main... like, from GuMiho's main base to Soulkey's main base and just, like, moving around? Like, that's such a short air distance! That actually could have been really, really scary. A giant, massive air army that's able to maneuver back and forth that quickly.
Yeah. I mean, that might have been really good. It's still important to note, of course, that it's these air spawns, close by air, as we used to say. So that, so he's not going for Banshees now, he could go for drops, definitely, later.
That's true. Yeah. Absolutely. We do have the Spire now plopping down relatively quickly for Soulkey, as well as the Baneley Nest, Evolution Chambers. This has been a fairly passive game so far. I guess, of course, GuMiho going for that 3cc style, but also Soulkey just really content to not put on a lot of aggression, not even send Zerglings or go for some weird Baneling drop or like a Roach drop in the main base, Nidus Swarm play. It's just, let me get up my Evolution Chambers, let me get up my Roach Warren, or sorry, not Roach Warren, my Baneling Nest, let me get up my Spire, like, let's take this to the macro game. That's where I feel comfortable.
Yeah, and this has been a very like macro game. You know, no Hellion attacks, definitely no Hellbats, a couple of Widowmines here, and they have both been able to hold off on important tech until now. Like for instance, the Baneling Nest. If you were afraid of a 2-base push, you definitely would have gotten a little bit sooner for Soulkey. But he's gonna have to be wary of this 1/1 that is perfectly timed out from GuMiho that will have combat shields as he pushes across the map. That's going to be quite difficult to deal with, potentially. His creep spread is looking pretty fine, though. That's going to help. And, of course, GuMiho, it's all up to his control. Actually taking a bit of an odd path here. Either knew that the Lings were over here, wanted to clear them up, or was trying to be unscouted. I think unscouted was his ideal situation there.
Well, the biggest reveal possible, if the Medivacs themselves aren't a reveal, is the fact that when a Terran player scans, you know they're about to drop. But 1/1 finishes up just in time for the defense of Soulkey's main base. The Marines get the defense off. And these Marines are doing a lot of damage over here. And he could actually end up kills a Baneling, too.
Drops the last Marine on the Baneling, really nice. So 3 Marines left over. 1/1 finishing up when they were in that choke against the Lings really helped out. Now, Soulkey's going to go back to mining. The Nita's will be able to clean this up. But this was a drop that did more than I think Soulkey ever wanted. You know, usually you want Lings and a Baneling or two already ready to go, and everything is Gucci.
Losing both Medivacs, I feel like may actually, like, you know, if he had gotten out of there with a Medivacs, I actually really would have liked that push in. But losing both the Medivacs, I'm kind of not as much in favor of it. There is still another push out, though, that's coming in, and this is also getting scary.
No Medivacs, though, as you said. 2 Medivacs died. Distributing. Oh, there they are.
Yeah.
Reinforcements coming along.
2 Medivacs making their way across the map, but I mean, there's not really a whole lot over here to defend, and with the Hellbats in the mix as well, it's going to be really difficult to keep this 4th expansion alive. He is pushing this army back, though. Nice Medivac micro, picks up some of these units and goes over to the main base where only the Mutals are going to be able to deal with them.
There's so much going on. The drop is going to be cleaned up by the Mutas. The reinforcement is going to be just barely cleaned up by the Lings, it looks like. And that is going to send GuMiho finally back home. But that was very, very close. Soulkey, got those Banelings at the last second. He was just reinforcing with the Lings. Now he can take a breath, but he has fallen behind on the upgrades during all of that.
Yeah, that is a little bit unfortunate. 2-2 already very much on the way for GuMiho. Combat shields, of course, also going to be finishing up. This is the really scary thing about how GuMiho has been playing this. Like, he still has these 2 Medivacs, these other 2 Medivacs alive. I really hope he's careful with those, because he's not even making more Medivacs right now. GuMiho, if you lose these 2 Medivacs, you are going to be up a creek without a paddle.
He is bulking up Lings to go in after. It's going to try and get us around. It's going to get GuMiho to pick up and leave. Definitely a safer choice.
Alright, that Liberator production starting, and this is again where I say, like, those Medivacs are so important right now, you cannot afford to lose those. But at the same time, I do feel like Soulkey is starting to get up that massive, like, Zergling, Baneling, Muta army. The Mutals count is not too bad right now. He has enough to actually start to contest this. He's focusing down those Medivacs. One of the Medivacs goes down, the second Medivac very, very close to it, and he's going to be able to clean up all these Marines.
Just about. A couple more Marines coming forward to the Marauder to tank. Saves most of the Medivacs, and not too bad. The upgrade's about to finish up for GuMiho. Like I said, he's definitely going to have a lead there. And Soulkey has not yet started, I think, even an Infestation Pit. No, he has not. Going into upgrades, continuing upgrades for his Mutas. We did talk about this today or yesterday or some point, I forget. But that in a macro game, especially as it is going to that later stage, the 4th base, the 5th base is coming down and whatnot, the Carapace upgrade is not only going to help your Mutas, it's going to really benefit those Corruptors, which you're going to have to transition into since GuMiho has always been going for Liberators. So I like that as the long-term plan here.
I like how you watch so much StarCraft that you actually can't even tell the days apart anymore.
Oh my god, are you kidding me?
That was yesterday, though.
Okay, good.
But alright. Oh, Widowmine getting a pretty decent shot off on these Mutals. Gotta force them back. This is really cool. I actually like to compare this, like, Soulkey's Mutalist plays versus, I think it was in the semifinals versus Labyrinth. He did a really good job of keeping that Liberator count low and everything. He was able to do a lot of damage with those Mutalists, but against GuMiho, even just like the Widowmines and everything, like the well-positioned Widowmines, well-positioned Liberators and everything, I think that these Mutalists have had a bit of a harder time getting the damage done lately. Oh!
Wow.
Widowmine cleaned up a lot of those Banelings as they try and move in for a run-by.
Yeah, that was almost clever. Unfortunately, got the tail end of it. Killed a gas geyser, I guess. Soulkey was positioning in the center tower specifically to have GuMiho, I guess, not looking, but he didn't need to look. There are those corruptors. There's the hive. This drop went around town, man, but it actually got here. I'm trying to deny this fifth.
Mutalisks are gonna be able to chase that drop down in there, or enough that they can contest any Marines that try and drop out of it.
Yeah. That's that for that. GuMiho
we're back down to 2 medevacs.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's so odd having to consistently point that out with GuMiho going so quickly into Liberators.
Yeah, it's like that. That's the weird thing to me, is how quickly and willingly he goes into Liberators on such low medevac counts, despite losing them to a lot of these drops.
Yeah, yeah. Very delicate balance here. We'll see if it works out. It worked out last time on Ruins. But Soulkey is looking not to make the same engagement mistake as he did last time. You know, like he's kind of posturing and poking and maybe like, you know, faking a committal here, but he's always pulling back and is not even including the mutas with this attack. So I think this time he's going to really hold off, wait for those Ultralisks, and then if GuMiho is moving out, then maybe take an engagement. Unfortunately, with the Liberator count being so high, he might have to wait until GuMiho is the one to push out. And I don't know how he's going to use these mutas. Usually at this point, GuMiho has just killed all of them for the Liberators. So I don't know if he's going to try and intentionally give them away or actually use
What do you do with the Mutalisks when you keep them alive this long? I did not anticipate. I didn't anticipate keeping my Mutalisks alive this long. Usually they're dead.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you could just move on to the Liberator. Oh my god. Be careful over there. I know. Well, you know what? Actually, if you magic box these Mutalisks well enough, along with the Corruptors, I could see you trading not amazingly well, but surprisingly well versus the Liberators.
Guess it's a attempt Soulkey's not willing to make right now. His creep spread has continued, by the way. I was kind of noting that a couple minutes ago that it would stalled, but still want that going strong. Also going to want queens, just in general, with a lot of energy for when the Ultras come out. But again, he's taking an engagement before Ultras are out. He could make the same mistake as last time on Ruins. He's off of creep, but the Liberators aren't helping. They're so lazy. There they go.
Oh boy. Well, that was an interesting engagement, and we do end up seeing Soulkey getting forced back. The Liberator is also going to be chasing back a lot of these Corruptors and the Mutals. The Marines coming in over at this 4th expansion, and it's going to be completely barren. The expansion is going to go down almost immediately. Liberators are getting taken out, though, as well as the ground units.
Yeah.
And I feel like GuMiho is still getting the better end of this, even after losing a lot of that army.
Killing a 5th base with his own 5th base already done, and 6th. He's pretty darn good, but took a hit to the face with a Baneling, so Soulkey has some time to try and replant those. And now he has Ultralisk, so he can start being comfortable in a defensive engagement.
This choke point, he's gonna kill every single one of those Zerglings! Oh my god, that was actually such a huge deal, because...
Excuse you, these two.
GuMiho was maybe looking a little bit sad because he lost so much of his army to make all that damage happen and everything, but... any threat of a counterattack is gone with almost the entire Zergling base force for Soulkey dying right there. Maybe the Ultralisks now can do something, but, well, GuMiho has time.
The upgrades are tying up here, too. All engagement actually goes down. That's quite a few Corruptors that are just taking out those medevacs, and GuMiho realizes his mistake. Nope, 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 nope.
Get out of there.
And goes back home.
It's not your time.
There is a command center that's going to actually be peed on after, you know, dropping down because Surfers are killing it otherwise. Not going to die.
This is a command center that's being peed on.
Yep. It happens. But defensively, it looks like the Liberators have sieged up, and Corruptors, well, they got to take care of that for the Ultras to go in. There's a lot of Liberators. I don't know about this.
Oh,
he's going to go in.
I mean, the Liberators are in siege mode right now, though, and they end up actually, I mean, like, they deal a decent amount of damage to some of these Ultralisks, but the Bioforce is so low on health right now. There's actually so many Corruptors, they can actually just start caustic spraying the command center. Like, what is there really going to be able to deal with that?
Yeah, 16 Corruptors, and the Ultras are still alive. That's the worst part. They were, like, running around, killing these Marines. There's no problem. Well, I
didn't even expect that to happen. GG gets called. Soulkey cleans it up in game number 6 with his #1 map choice.
Yeah, so that's going to be a 4-2 in favor of Soulkey, the reverse of what I was guessing the very start of this series. GuMiho, at least he brought back 2 games, and there were some pretty fun games, even in the games that he lost, so congratulations to Soulkey, wins the grand prize, but GuMiho wins $150, so not too small of a pot either. That is it for the cast today.
Well,
guess...
really quickly, I know Rifkin also wanted me to mention, for those of you who are tuning in right now, please don't go anywhere, because if you guys did not catch the Ting North American Ting Open North American group from last night, Rifkin is going to be rebroadcasting that while I guess he goes to his Twitch meetup, or I mean, while he sleeps in his coffin. So if you guys want to stick around for that, if you didn't see that, there were some fantastic games there. So do stick around for that.
Yeah, that should be fun. We're actually going to do a very small commercial break, and then we'll come back and say our goodbyes. So if you're going to leave, well, have a good day, and if not, well, then we'll see you in 2 minutes.